let Coach start off and we'll open it up for questions.
Okay, we had a situational scrimmage today. Our ones and twos went out. We really focused on 2-minute situations, down by 3, down by 7. One timeout, offensively and defensively to get the teaching things. We focused on last plays. We did ones-on-ones, punt return, kickoff return. Then we let our 2s and 3s scrimmage at the end. They probably went close to 50 plays between both of them. And then we ended with some 2s and 3s, kickoff return, punt return. Starting to put the pieces of the puzzle. I told our guys, after this practice, we'll practice the helmets tomorrow, and we'll start thinking about our first opponent. So we've got our work in. The thing that stood out to me today, the intensity was really good. It was really high. We had guys that wanted to do what the coach asked. They wanted to play with intensity. I mean, this is the end of fall camp. It would have been real easy to go out there and slop around. Our guys played extremely hard. Defense got turnovers, and that's really what we've been harping. There was 3 interceptions they came up with, 1 in the end zone. One of them had a chance to be a pick 6. So there was a lot of good things on defense. There was some really good things on offense. I think more than anything, it's just the teaching and the coaching situational things that you're able to iron out before you get to the game and not have those growing pains because you didn't have that particular situation. So a lot of teaching things. It was really good today. Like I said, what stood out to me was our intensity questions.
How would you evaluate this camp for KJ Jefferson? How did he do?
No, I think it's been good. He had a good foundation in the spring. Spring is really basic, and now what we did in fall camp, man, we put in most of our playbook, and it was accelerated rate because you want all of the different things, at least a foundation. Once you start game planning and narrowing things down, you may refer to something, and if you've already went through it, at least in fall camp, it was quick, you at least have a foundation. But I think he's handled the playbook well, just getting used to everything and, narrowing things down. And when you narrow things down in game plan situation, it helps everybody, and just getting really specific with that.
You guys look at the overall health of the team. You come out of fall camp. Where are you at with some of these guys? I know the offensive line, you had some guys banged up. Miles Montgomery was limited, it looked like on practice on Monday. What were you at?
We had some guys that we held out today that were banged up. There's no doubt about that. Our goal was we get to next Tuesday. That's really the first real practice that we start with our opponent. We wanted everybody 100%. And we have some nicks, we have some hamstring, groin, things like that. So we were smart with the guys that have those situations. And just our goal is by Tuesday to have everybody ready to come back.
Coach, you've said in the past that the biggest lead that you try to look for is early on, or the biggest lead you see in how much better a team gets is early on in that first couple practices. Did you see that here? And what's something that you can share that kind of jumped out the most?
Yeah, our guys want to be good. It's been very demanding, very physical camp. The guys have responded. I think we have a really good idea how we'll respond in adversity. I think that's very important. And I think into the game situations, we really focused on that. But a lot of that is just discipline. A lot of that is, knowing how the coach is already going to think. Just being prepared and being close. Being able to truly trust the guy beside you. And so we're in a better spot than we were at this time last year. But we got to keep working. And the job's not done. And it'll be a process. The good teams, they find a way to continue to improve throughout the season. We need to be one of those teams that do that.
Coach, you talked about challenging your team to improve on not letting up penalties. How did they respond to that challenge?
Yeah, I think we had 3 penalties today, so I think that was good. We're chipping away at that. Starting out fall camp, you want them to be aggressive. And then, there's a time, especially I told you that first scrimmage, it was embarrassing with the penalties. And then we cut it in half, and we cut it in half again. But that's coaching. That's something we got to continue to keep working on. Penalties, ball security, things like that. Just the things that self-inflicted wounds that do not give you the best chance of winning. That's about coaching.
Speaking on the bigger community of UCF, it was recently announced that former linebacker Shaquille Griffin will be inducted into the 2024 UCF Hall of Fame class. What is your thought? Even though you didn't coach him, What are your thoughts on that and the impact that he's had here?
Yeah, well, first of all, I coached against him. He was a nightmare. I mean, he's an unbelievable player with a great motor. That was well deserving. I think it was really neat and special yesterday. He was caught off guard, and he's very deserving. You know, he gave a speech that it was one of the best I've ever heard. I mean, he talked directly to not just the team, but our fan base and everything that goes with it. And you know, he's a dreamer, man, and it was really, really special, I thought, and we're real proud of him, and our players think the world of him.
Coach, you mentioned the intensity. A lot of your players alluded to that intensity this past week. How consistent has that intensity been this fall camp?
It's been pretty consistent, you know. I mean, I think early in fall camp, I think the coaches were the ones leading it, and they're the ones that were bringing it. And there was a time in fall camp that our players flipped a switch, and it started to be player-led. Now, we're still not there yet, but we are getting there. Player-led teams have a chance to win championship. Coach-led teams have zero chance. So we are getting better. They brought it today. I mean, both sides of the football brought it, and you know, really the ones, they didn't do any real scrimmaging. It'd been real easy to go out there and, oh, here we go, we're almost done with fall camp. They didn't. They were locked in. You know, we had the tablets again today. It was good to go on the sideline, get all of our communications down in the game scenarios. That is so critical. We had the officials out there. We were able to cover all that.
We heard a lot, obviously we heard a lot about this running back room. You know, we know what we got with RJ, but you know, Tim Harris the other day was really high in Miles Montgomery. You know, Penny Boone obviously has a lot of experience where he's from. Just talk about what you saw from that group, and is it going to be interesting on how you plan to utilize the different skill sets that each running back has?
Yeah, and we got some real running backs. There's no doubt about that. Miles has been one of our MVPs. I mean, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's a dog, and doing a lot of great things. Penny is a guy that, but you give him the football, he's a natural guy. He's learning the offense still. Johnny's Johnny. I think everybody knows what he can do with the ball in his hands. RJ's had a good camp too. Now, we didn't get RJ tackle, but he did everything else, bump tempo. He did live protection. He has really continued to improve his game, so I'm excited about him. Stacey Gage got the majority of the carries in the scrimmage today. He had some good hard runs, and the big thing for a young back is holding on to the football. And I think overall our guys have done a good job, you know, protecting the football from the running back position.
Hey, Coach, you kind of spoke about player-led teams. I thought a good point yesterday was you had 4 captains that are all transfers that were selected. How do you think that they were able to get the locker room on their side during this fall camp?
Yeah, that they earned it. You know, it wasn't just fall camp. You know, it was like summer. I mean, the summer, that's when you really grow as a team and leaders emerge, and who's consistent, who can you count on, who is going to be that people or those individuals that when the game's on the line, the coaches on the sideline, they're out there that can get everybody rallied. And so all 4 of those guys, I was, you know, as a coach, you always, you know, hope, hey, they vote for certain guys and all this because they've earned it. As a coach, you kind of know, but when it's player led, it's even more special. And the fact that they chose those 4 guys, I think you saw it yesterday. I mean, those guys are genuine guys. It is so important. They're leaders. They take the time for the young guys. They lead by example. And we're in good shape with our leaders going this year.
Coach, getting started here going into this camp throughout the offseason, you kind of mentioned that, you know, you were trying to improve based on like a self-reflection and get your hands more involved directly. Obviously, you've done that through fall camp here. Have you enjoyed coaching more, doing that, and getting more involved in that way?
Yeah, I think anytime you do something you love to do and it's your passion and what you feel like is your strength and you actually do it, it does feel good. It feels good inside, you know, and so that's what we're doing. I mean, like I said, we still got to keep pressing forward and improving, but I do like where our team is mentally, and, you know, just keep working, you know, with the foundation we've built.
Gosh, you guys, I know you're still working out the depth chart, but when you look at the quarterback situation behind KJ, what are you seeing? How do you kind of envision that?
We've mixed and matched. I mean, we've given every one of those guys an opportunity, not just live, but, you know, today we rotated some guys, and so we're putting the pieces of the puzzle. You know, we'll evaluate what we have. We already have a good idea kind of where we're at, but today was another time to find a way to move yourself up. So we'll have some order when we get to Tuesday's practice, and you know, with all that, with all positions, not just quarterback.
One of the major topics this season is discipline. You mentioned discipline. You said last year the team wasn't as disciplined. Are you confident that they're more disciplined now than they were last year at this same stage?
Yeah, well, first of all, discipline starts with the head coach. Okay, that's who it starts and ends with. If you got a disciplined team, it's a reflection of the head coach. If you got an undisciplined team, it's a reflection of the head coach. And I was embarrassed. I've said that before. I will say this: we're quite a bit more disciplined right now than we were at this time last year. But you got to go out there and prove it. I mean, it's every game. I mean, we can talk and we can say this, but when you go out there, everything is clear. Everything comes out. And so I'm curious to see how our team responds. I think I know how they respond, but we'll find out.
What's the benefit of getting your backup special teams reps in fall camp versus not?
Well, hopefully you have competition. I mean, that's the number one thing. Then if you have any injuries, I lost a punter in a big game with a concussion. We had to have our backup punter on the biggest game of the year kick 2 punts, field goal kicker. I've had a field goal kicker have his quad kind of pulled. The backup had to come in and try to win a game. So you put those guys in competition situations, but then every now and then we'll put our number 2 in there with our number 1. How are they going to respond? And so we've done that in fall camp.
Can you just kind of outline what this next week will be? Like you said, there's a practice tomorrow, is that right? And then school starts next week, so when will you kind of conclude camp and start game week prep?
Yeah, helmet only tomorrow, and it will be putting our special teams things together. We'll focus a lot on that, hands team, onside kick team, everything that goes, and then we'll go ahead offensively and defensively, clean some things up from our 2-minute situations into game situations. And then Monday's off day, and our coaches are going to prepare like it's game week and get all of our things organized on Monday. Tuesday we'll come out and have a Tuesday practice, just like we would. And then we'll have a Wednesday practice, a Thursday practice, and then we'll go ahead and we'll have another Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So 2 weeks to prepare for this first game. And I know from my standpoint, I'm sure the players will say the same thing. Now that we can kind of flip the page and stop going against each other and you start going against another opponent, that gives you a little bit of fresh air with it and a freshness about it. So I know me personally, I'm ready to start working on our opponent.
Last one.
And you've had some depth issues at wide receiver in your time here. Where would you evaluate that position now?
I think we got good competition. I mean, I think Coach Harris has, 2 deep at each position. There's great competition. I think we probably have more like guys that are ready to go in a game than we've had. It's yet to be seen in a game, like who's going to step up and, take charge and make plays and all that. But we do have quality depth right now that, we got guys we can put out there with the ones and can execute, we feel like.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.